Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Monday, August 25th, 2014. We're going to take a look at the market like we typically do. We've got one day of action, so we're just going to quickly go through the indices, although I am going to spend a little time looking at the projections here on the wave count. And then we'll look at the indicators and then briefly talk about some of the trade ideas. Okay, the Dow was up 75 points today, and the Dow has not pushed to new highs. So I'm keeping this count in here, although I am a little nervous about it because the S&P has pushed to new highs, the Nasdaq's pushed to new highs, and I'm just not sure how much longer this count in here is going to hold. And if we break to new highs in here, I really don't know how this wave's going to relate. And I'm just going to have to go back and try to figure out. I mean, the funky thing with the Dow right here is this action that occurred in here, in this wave structure. And we'll just have to, we have to see. I mean, I feel like this looks fairly accurate. But then once we got into these moves in here, I'm just not quite sure this is my best shot at it. Let's take a look at the indicators real quick, see if we see anything different here on the Dow. And it looks like just a little bit of divergence creeping in on today's move, not going to higher on the indice, on the indicator, I'm sorry, as you can see here on the RSI. Not getting it there, and we're getting it on the demand index. So although we pushed higher from Thursday's close, we're not getting confirmation. But again, that's just over a 2-day period, so I'm not sure that we can make a whole lot out of that. The S&P 500, this is where I want to spend a little time. As we all know, the S&P pushed another record, and it's like, just play that recording again. It just keeps pushing and pushing. So let's take a look at the wave count here today. My best analysis is that we are in a 5-wave move from down here, June 2012, okay? And 5 intermediate waves. And this 5th wave, let me get my little pen out. This 5th wave, which is back all the way up in here, is an extended 5th wave. This wave there was no extension in it, got the correction. This wave was a normal wave. It did not go beyond 161.8% of wave 1. So this was a normal in length. And so whenever you have this normal and this normal, you expect that this is going to extend, and it's sure extending. So then when you start to look at the wave count in here, and start to get some estimates as to where we're going to have, some kind of top in the 5th wave. And then you start looking at the wave count that you have back in here. So when we look at the wave count, let me get rid of those lines. When we look, let's zoom in on the 5th wave. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit more. So I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 did not overlap 1. And now we're in this 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're in the 5th wave. So we're in the 5th wave of the 5th wave of the 5th wave. So the 5th minute wave of the 5th minor wave of the 5th intermediate wave of the C wave in an ABC correction. So if you want to know all the wave count that I've got here on it. And so when you start to create a channel line, you take the bottom of wave 2 and the bottom of wave 4, you stretch the channel line out, you create a parallel line, put it to the top of 3, and project it out and say, where could the 5th wave top out at? And so right now, I've got the channel lines in here for this 5 intermediate waves. Then I created this lavender, light blue, whatever you want to call it. I'm partially colorblind, so that doesn't help me a whole lot. But let's call it lavender. Anyway, it's these little lavender lines are the channel lines for the 5 minute waves, or the 5 waves within the last 5th minor wave. And so it's interesting that when you project it out from the third wave, you're right up here in that same zone, very close, okay? When I looked at projections from the wave count from down here as to where 5 might end, the expectation for a normal top was 1981. Well, 1981 was right in here. We kind of hit it right here at the top of 3. And so clearly we've pushed beyond that. So it's going further than what the normal expectation for the extended wave 3 would be. So that's why I'm starting to think that some kind of target up here to the top of the channels looks like a reasonable estimate for where the S&P 500 might top. And then we'll have to look in and look at, if we look at the wave count, and let's just look at here, and you go to the top of this one, go back to the bottom of 2. Wave 3 only went slightly beyond 100% of wave 1, so it didn't even come close to being the normal length of 161.8. So that means that the 5th wave could extend, and it wouldn't be surprising to see actually a throw over the top of the channel. So as we start to get closer, we'll just have to look to see how the waves are structuring in here. Right now, it's just pushing up in a straight line. I mean, we got little bitty waves in there, but that's my best estimate right now is to target something up into here. Now let's go ahead and look at the NASDAQ real quick. We've pushed above this threshold here. My next target is right here at 46.65. And then of course you've got the top of the channel of the 5 intermediate waves, okay, that we've got, and so we could push beyond that, but these are my initial targets right now. And let's see, let's take a look at the indicators. We're not getting any divergence, not really getting any divergence that's showing up that I'm seeing. So right now it looks like clear sailing for that, which, you know, when you start looking at this and you see how the S&P is pushing, you kind of go, okay, the Dow has got to go to new highs. I mean, it just seems like, how's it going to hold down unless something dramatically turns? When I look at the New York Composite, when I did wave estimates, this is where I think the New York Composite's going to top at 11,338. So it'll be interesting to see if that holds. And again, that's doing this estimate on the waves. I mean, when you come back and you look at this wave structure in here of 1 to 2, you can see that wave 3 was very nearly normal, okay? Didn't quite get there, so it didn't extend. So the message is this was not an extended wave 3. So then when I go back, so when I go back and then look at from 0 to the top of 3, come back down to the bottom of 4, right up here is where this equals, this is what you would normally expect an extended wave 3 to get to, 100% of 0 to 3. Okay, that's my first target. And actually I'm a little bit off. It all depends on where you actually, you know, punch those lines in. But we're close. We're right in here. So somewhere above, you know, 11,300, 11,340 in that target range. I'm going to keep that number up there. It's what I came up with earlier. So knowing that's kind of a projection target, then you start to do a similar type thing in terms of looking at this wave structure in here. But I'm going to stick with that for now, and we'll just have to watch this 5th wave. But the bottom line is, again, I think we're in a 5th of a 5th of a 5th. So we're getting near to where this thing should be topping out. All right, short-term trading index is turning down a little bit more, and as we start to top out and move higher on some of this is going to move down below this red line. I have no doubt. I mean, this is going to get an extreme reading, which it hasn't done since January. So the VIX index pulled down. It continues to pull down. It's starting to get back down in this range in here where we had the extreme readings on the put to call ratio. Remember we talked about that on the weekend? Okay, so when the VIX got really extreme and those put to call ratios got really extreme, and then we had the sell-off. So we'll continue to watch that. The high-low index, we got this little M top in here, and I told you, I said, wouldn't be surprised to get a little hook, fish hook, I call it. Well, here's a little fish hook. Now it'll be interesting to see if it continues the fish hook form and comes down tomorrow and for the next day or two. And if it pulls back up and goes higher, then that's not what we got on. But here's like a fish hook. What an M top with a little fish hook. Well, I used to see that, and a lot of times you'll see that in the RSI a lot. And you just kind of look, you just see these little formations, and you come up with these names for them. Everybody does it, so it's it's just one of those things. Okay, today I got stopped out of Candy. We'll talk about it because I said if I get a close below the previous 2-day lows, I'm out. And we did. I don't like that. We had this big bearish engulfing bar here, which was kind of a signal, but I wasn't willing to just take the 1-day bar. And we got the signal today, so we're out of the calls that we had. Very disappointed. Thought we were going to run, and we didn't. So I did get a question. And then the other thing I want to mention real quick, and then I'm done with the trade ideas really, is because I'm still in Whole Foods, although I've got to stop on it. Sure would like to see it start to drop like I'm expecting it to. Rax is still doing well. STX is doing well. So right now, those are the ones we're still holding. And and then C-Trip, Dang, and so fun. There was no entries today. They just sold off pretty much most of the day, from the get-go. And the trade ideas are off. I'll have that on the page. I'm basically canceling those trade ideas for entries on those stocks. And we'll just go back to square one on those things. And Candy, let's talk about this for a minute. Damien sent me an email and said, hey, could this be a bear flag? And so let's get rid of this. I'll tell you, I really, the way I wouldn't draw it a bear flag. I could see how someone might think that it might be, because you could create a parallel line up in here that parallel to it, and kind of draw that and make it the same color just for grins. But you could, but the problem I've got with this is that everything is aligned bullishly right now. Okay, all the moving averages except for, well, they all are. Everything's aligned bullishly. The move is up. Yes, we had this sharp little 3-day, but I don't think that's enough to call this a bear move where you get a flag. And a lot of times the flags are after dramatic vertical moves, but it's kind of in a move that's the move. And let me give you an example why I say that. Well, let me step back for a second. And the other parameter that I like to think about, flags are anywhere from 5 to 3 weeks. This is 4 weeks, which that's fine. Sometimes they can be, out that long. But here's a flag in Citric. Now you notice how the 10 was breaking below the 21, breaking below the 55. It was starting to break down. You get this dramatic flagpole type of action, okay? And so you've got an upside down flag. I mean, just picture that this is a flagpole that's upside down with the flag waving here, and then you get this huge dramatic movement here, and here's a pennant. Okay, this is Citrix. And so this is a good example to me of what a flag is. And a lot of times flags can be smaller. They can be just one. Here could be like a minor flag right in here. I mean, if I were to draw, a little, line in here and draw another line in here. And really, the thing about flags is I've seen where people draw flags and here could be a flag, a bullish flag. And sometimes I'll say, really, that's a flag? So, it's a little bit in the eye of the beholder. My preference, though, is back on, when we're looking at Candy. This seems like we're still in a bullish mode, but, now you break this lower trend line. I mean, I was starting to think with this kind of close today, we get another breakdown and we break this lower trend line, this thing could be starting to turn back down. And I was always concerned about the fact that we could be looking at a double top here. But anyway, so I guess, Damien, to answer your question on this is, I guess it's totally possible that you could call this a bear flag, but I wouldn't, this would not be one I would draw up as a picture perfect, bear flag. Okay, so hopefully that helps. So again, 5 to 3 weeks in length, typically after very vertical type moves, and then you get very vertical moves after that. So those are just some of the parameters that you have on them, and that's about it for tonight. So let's see. Oh, and tomorrow I wanted to mention, tomorrow's the day where I was typically going to put out an update on Apple, Green Mountain, Twitter, and Facebook. And since I just talked about Green Mountain and this weekend on Saturday, I think I'm going to substitute Apache. So I'm going to put out an update tomorrow, and it may be like tomorrow morning, so it may be through this evening on we'll kind of check in on Apple, Apache, Twitter, and Facebook. So look for that. I won't issue an email, I won't put a post. I'll put it in the chart analysis page, and I may tweet it that it's out there. That kind of thing. So if you're not following me on Twitter, you can follow me at Joe Henches and follow me on Twitter, and you'll see when I tweet stuff too. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful. If you found the video helpful, please share it on social media. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It will give you access to the Trade Ideas webpage where we've got the details, and you get the free PDF and other things. And join the tribe, and you'll get updates as to when I post new posts out there for you. All right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Have a great Tuesday, Wednesday. I will be back with markets on Wednesday evening.